drivers on the track. Chloe left.
Hello?
Oh, hello. Are we back?
Oh, yeah, yep.
Kai has still.
I think Hazard. Yeah.
Your microphone. You're turning into a bit of a robot. You seem to have a few connection issues. A lot of beep boops going on at the minute. I don't know if you can fix that. Whilst you're doing that, I'm just going to run through my prediction for the Rwagnation League Hungarian Grand Prix. It's quite tough. I mean, Nick Turn has shown some incredible level of performance, and he's actually one of the first few drivers to go out on the intermediate tyres. So it's quite costly because he could very much easily move down the grid. If he loses the car just a touch, he may actually fall apart a little bit, and who knows, he could actually, if he bins the car, that would be horrific. If the intermediates are not ready for this track, then he could very easily make massive mistakes and ruin his entire race. But he's not a daft driver. He knows what he's doing, so it wouldn't surprise me if he did. I think my co-commentator is back. Kai, are you back?
Yeah.
Perfect. Hello.
Sorry. Right, my top three. I think because it's wet, we're gonna have to watch out for Hazard because, as you said, he's very consistent. And I think consistency is in the wet is one of the main things that you need as a driver, because one mistake on 1 or 2 laps will cost you a lot of time in the wet.
Yeah, absolutely. Who's your P2 though?
Well, you did say Falsetti was very good in the wet.
He is.
We'll find out if he can do it in this quali session. But I think he's going to be in my top 3 for now. And then I'm trying to think of my final person. I think I am going to go for Lazaro, just purely because of the performance in the previous Grand Prix we have seen from that driver. He's pulled out some amazing moves and some amazing techniques that we'd never thought would be pulled off on a track. And he's made it happen. Yeah,
absolutely. We're on board with that with you. I mean, the only other person we can't really turn our eyes away from is Rayner. I mean, last week out, he lived up to his name. He really demonstrated what he's capable of, and he dominated that race quite spectacularly. So, do I put him in my top 3 though? I don't know. This track doesn't seem to strike me as a track that he would be really he would be overly strong at. I do think that Nicktown will take the pole here. P2 though is gonna. I think you're right. Falsetti does have the opportunity to do it. It's just, again, this isn't the track that he's a big fan of. China was one where he didn't even race him because he hated it that much. The fact that he's here means he doesn't hate it that much, so he may actually be good enough. Mizzo, again, another quick driver. It's just so tightly packed here in terms of driver skill. I cannot say for sure who's going to be in the top 3.
I think it's definitely hard to call because we've got so many good drivers in this field, and the community that you have created has so many good drivers, and it's such good racing to watch and commentate on. I think it's just a really interesting league.
Yeah, we've just lost TNMO. Not sure what's happened to him. Hopefully he can rejoin. His teammates can invite him, not a problem. So Beaker is on track at the minute, but I'm just watching that Nick Turn as he's coming across the line now. He might be able to put, he's put the lap time in, so 1:29.828. Is that quick? At the minute, we don't quite know. We've got nothing to bench it on, although Gooby just does a 1:32.443, so it does sort of suggest that he is doing a very quick lap time. I do want to take a look at Rayner. He had invalidated a lap. He's now on the on another one to try and recover it, but he's on the first sector. And like I say, he's already showing signs of issues this early on, which is quite concerning to say the least. I was not expecting him to be struggling as much as he is. Now, this man here, Tortor, he has some history on this track. Me and him have got a little bit of banter between us. So this track in particular, it was my first ever league race that we raced on together. And I was racing against him. I actually finished higher than him. I finished in the points, which he was not too fond of, and every time I mention it, he gets very upset. So he's going to be looking to redeem himself, at least finish higher than 10th. He needs to get sort of 9th or 8th if he really wants to start rubbing it in my face again, which I know he will absolutely be doing. But if the track is wet again, he's going to be struggling. He already looks like he's not having a great time there on the track. We'll have to see how well he does going through the remainder of the session.
I think Toto will definitely be a one to watch. As you said, he will have that extra fire in his belly. Oh, he makes a big mistake around the corner there, putting him on the grass. Just lost the back end a little bit. That just shows how easy it is to make a mistake in Hungary. It's a very technical track and it's very hard to do, and that just shows how easy it is to make a mistake.
Yeah, absolutely. That was actually Boemel's, that one. But yeah, very much the same sort of thing. I mean, Tortor was also struggling. He was also losing the back end in the same situation. So yeah, absolutely, you bang on the nose there. But Boemel's hopefully can recover himself a bit. He is a quick driver, but I think he's running for I think what's happening is he's running a dry setup because I think the race itself is going to be dry. Tianema has managed to get back in, which is great. So we'll see how he does. But also want to keep an eye on Meister as well. Meister is someone who is incredibly quick when he's in the right circumstance. The problem is it can change, as he's just proven there with a 136.616. Yeah, it's all down to the circumstance that he can put himself into. He is a quick driver, but sometimes he just loses that little bit of focus and consistency that we know him to be good for. And I'm starting to wonder whether or not the wet tyre is right for this session, as the intermediates seem to be dominating overall.
Yeah, it looks like it is not raining at the moment, but the track is a bit wet. We will see the track hopefully dry up throughout the session. As the rain is coming down, not a lot, but it is coming down a little bit onto the drivers. But as you said, the intermediates is looking very quick, as we see Nick Dern improve his time on the intermediates, and that's 3 lap in intermediates, and that just shows how fast the intermediates are compared to the wets.
Yeah, exactly, and I think the intermediates definitely seem to be the tyre to be on, as Yoltek's also done a lap time there, and he's gone up in a P5. Reyna jumped up to P2, so he silenced my queries earlier as to whether or not he's going to be able to dominate. Oh, there's an off car there. Is that Beaker? It is Beaker. Beaker's off track. That's not good. So the current world champion Beaker is down in 15th. Not yet put a lap time in, and it's already not looking good. I mean, there is still 10 minutes left of the session. A lot of traffic coming up behind him, so he's just letting everyone go past. But you know, Beaker is someone who does so many league races. I've actually lost count how many he does in a week, just purely because he just chucks himself into every league race he can possibly sign up to. And so his development rate should be off the scale. At the minute, though, we're yet to see a dominant performance in Season 2 from him. He did really well in Season 1, but Season 2 just hasn't worked out for him.
It will be interesting to see what he can do from now on in the league, to see if he can improve. It will be interesting, and as you said, the intermediates are quicker, and that will simply be because there is a dry line on track, and there's less tread on the intermediates than on the wet, so it will be quicker if the drivers are on that dry line on intermediates.
Yeah, I think that's ultimately where it stems to. If the drivers can go on the intermediates and stay within the racing line and not make a mistake, then yeah, I think the intermediates are the right tyre for this. But it's so risky, it's so situational, because if you run wide and get onto the water on the right-hand side, there's a lot of... it's starting to form some real standing water there, and that will play havoc with the tyres. The tyres will start to lose operative power, and you'll see the car maybe even spin out as a result of it. And this yellow flag in Sector 2, though, I'm not quite sure what has instigated that one. But Yonti is still staying committed. P12 is where he sits right now with a 132.088. I want to just jump up a little bit. Meister's out again on intermediate tyres this time round. I think he's trying to quickly get a lap in on these so that he can really get a feel for them and work out how good they actually will be. Falsetti's also doing the same thing. And like I say, he has self-proclaimed himself the Rainmaster. It's only down to him now to sort of demonstrate. I mean, he did a really solid drive there out of turn 1. That was really well done by Falsetti.
Yeah, and if it is wet for the race and if it's dry, it'll be a totally different story. But if it is dry for the race, I think you will see a couple of, pretty much most of the grid going for wets. Because if they make one mistake on the intermediates, it will cost them more time than if they are on the wets, if they hit some standing water on track.
Yeah, exactly. It's such a high-risk, high-reward situation. At the minute, Falsetti is making it look like it's just going to be reaping the rewards today, but It only takes one slight mistake at any point on the track, because he's already just ran a little bit wide, got a little bit on the grass there, but not the end of the world, still holding on together. I actually want to take a quick look at Captain Consistency himself, Hazard. He's on a hot lap right now on the intermediate tyre 2. Interestingly, he's only sat in mode 2. He's just not feeling comfortable with his dry setup on this wet track. Oh, he's actually kept it together. I think Forsake may have actually had a spin. No, he didn't. I'm just seeing yellow flags in Sector 2, and I immediately assumed that he'd span out a little bit. But no, he's held it together. Still going strong. He's about to come around the final corner, and if the lap time... Oh, okay, getting a little bit drifty there. Across the line. Oh, it jumps up to P3, 130.057. I think if he hadn't taken the final corner as poorly as he did, I think he may have actually taken P1 there.
Yeah, it will be a hit or miss situation. If these drivers make mistakes on their fastest laps, it will be absolutely devastating in the cockpit for them. There'll be some choice words on the radios. But Nick Dunn still has the fastest lap so far, and he's just came out on fresh tyres. Probably on a hot lap, I think. But he still has the quickest lap time since earlier on in this session.
Yeah, 129.489 is the fastest, and like you say, he did that earlier on in the session, and the fact that he's done that and no one else is able to beat that at the minute. I mean, Yoltek's come close, 129.685, but that took him 3 laps to finally get that in. So, you know, it sort of shows just how fast that Nick Turn is. I think I was bang on the nose and going for him as P1. It's just keeping an eye on him and just see what he can really put out on track. Here comes Meister coming across the line. Is he going to be able to pip it? Everybody at the post? No, but he does go P3 with a 129.900, just beating Yonti in the Haas. And remember, the Constructors' battle at the minute is sat between Williams and Haas. They literally keep swapping places. As it stands, the 2 Haas drivers are actually further up the field than both of the Williams drivers. Nick Turn is obviously holding P1 as it stands. But he's on a warm-up lap, I think. I think he's already done... I think he tried to do a lap, but I think he invalidated. Like you see, he's ran wide there. That one have helped his intermediate tyres too well. But off he goes. Oh, Rayner. Okay, so 129.049 has just been set by Rayner, living up to the name. Now Nick Turn has to find some pace. That's almost a full half a second that he's got to try and work out where he can get it from. But at the minute, it's Rayner demonstrating his capabilities. It's all down to Nick Turn and everyone else to try and knock him down.
Yeah, what I've noticed out of that final corner is there is a lot of people on the intermediate sliding out of that final corner. I don't know if they're hitting some standing water, but there's been quite a few drivers hitting the back end out and going over a little bit wide onto the grass or on the curb maybe. But there's a lot of people in the intermediate sliding out of that final corner.
Yeah, it was quite interesting now. I didn't expect them to be struggling that hard, but they're just trying to get the power down so much earlier than these tyres are permitting them. I think the track is actually still, I think it's a bit too wet. Personally, I've seen some wet times being very close to a Nick Turn's intermediate time. And actually, Copy, I don't know what happened there. It looked like he just backed out of that lap. He was so slow. So that's interesting. Where is Gooby? Here he is. Coming through the final sector. It's looking pretty tidy. He needs to maintain this racing line. Oh, back end kicking out just a touch, but he caught it. And that's not the end of the world for him. Now he needs to do what you just said. He needs to make sure he doesn't screw up this final corner. And Nick Turn improves. He retakes provisional pole with a 128.968. My eyesight was going there for a second, but Gooby did jump up to P6. Alright, Lazaro. He's also coming around the final corner, but I think he's just starting a hot lap now. Yeah, he is. What about Beaker? Where's Beaker? Alright, Beaker's on a hot lap. So let's keep an eye on him as he comes to this chicane. This chicane is a killer for a lot of people when it comes into the wet. Yeah, you can see he was so scared to make the turn and he actually had to ride the curb quite a huge amount. And those curbs are enormous, so it's very easy to lose control of the car when you get on them too much. But Beaker's making it look okay. He needs to get a lap time in though, with 2 minutes and 39 seconds remaining of the session. He's going to be driving these tyres to the end. So he could actually afford to make a mistake or two, but he can't afford to burn too much fuel away.
Yeah, you just stole the words from my lips. I was going to say Beaker better be quick to put a lap in because he hasn't set a lap yet. Neither has Lastro, and I put him in my race and quali top 3. It'll be interesting to see if he can get up there in his remaining laps for quali. As it is Beaker who goes up into 5th position with a 1:29.770.
Yeah, that is a really good lap time from him. That's actually probably the best qualifying show that I've seen from him in quite a while. He's not actually dominated as much as he wanted to, but Rayner has switched around again. He's taken lead again, 128.669. It's now down to a Nick turn. These two are just continuously battling non-stop to see who can beat who, and with 3 laps on these intermediate tyres, you better pray that it's going to work out for you at Nick turn, because you're going to be running low on the grip. Toto has retired from the session. He does qualify dead last with a 1:33.057. The wet conditions not favoured in his books. Just chilling a lot further down than I anticipated. Toto actually there he is, facing the wrong direction. Meister there, he was already in P3. I think he's going to be waiting for the track to reset so he can go again. But I'm just keeping an eye on just chilling, as he is way further down than he would have liked and way further down than we would have anticipated.
If I'm not mistaken, there might be a problem later on as Hazard retires from the session. He's in P12. Obviously, he doesn't think he can improve. But if I wasn't mistaken, Toto was retired on track, if I remember correctly. Facing the wrong way on track, that might be a problem for the stewards to look at. But I don't know what happened. I might have been seeing things. But I did see Toto facing the wrong way.
And actually, we just saw Hazard. Hazard actually binned the car. I've just seen him there on the left-hand side. He had a wheel missing. I think Toto also had the same situation. I think he lost the car and binned it, and that's where he ended up retiring. There's another car off track. That is actually Buemel's. Just chilling. Did try to go faster, but he's still 14th place with a 1:30.823. And at Nickton managed to find some grip in the tyres. He has taken provisional pole again. It's now down to Rain, who's coming up on the I think he's reset himself. Yeah, so Rain is going for another attempt. He is the person we need to keep an eye on. Is at Nickton also going again? Yes, he is. So both of them will be battling all the way to the end. Lazzaro's made an appearance. He's up there now in P2, and he's managed to give himself enough time to go again. Has he got the fuel for it? Well, that warning light is flashing away, which does suggest he doesn't. Let's see if we can see where Meister is. Just Chillin has retired as well. I don't know if it's because he's binned it or not, but we will have to watch out as Fossetti's crossed the line and he stays at P10 at best. It's purely whether or not Gooby or Buemel's can knock him down. TNMO, Inaudible Gamer, and Rexon just seem to be struggling a bit too much to try and improve. Inaudible Gamer manages to get up to P13, but for the rest of them, it's not looking too great. Here comes Meister.
Yeah, watch out for Mesa. What time will he be able to do? He is currently in 4th position on a 1:29.0. But as I said, Lazaro, he was in my top 3. Is he able to improve? No, he isn't. Meister is not going to be able to improve, but he is in provisional 4th position as Lazaro is trying to get in another lap with that red warning light flashing. Will Nickton be able to improve on his lap time though? He is in provisional pole position, but he wants to get a bigger margin to get that pole position though.
And he improves 1:28.266, and now that's a 4/10 lead that he's going to have in front of Rayner. Rayner's now coming across the line. I don't know whether or not he knows this is the end of the session because it's not looking too good for him, and he stays P3. Lazzaro's coming in the pits, so that is a Nickton with pole position unless Mizzo, no, he's also going in the pits. Copy, he's coming around the corner now. Can he improve? He is actually not far off. I think it's going to be a 1:29, so lap time. It's all down to him now, and he jumps up. He goes P7, so good standing for the Williams team overall. But Ed Nickton, he takes pole position here in Hungary with Lazzaro in second, Rayner closing out the podium. Meister's going to join him on the second row of the grid in 4th, Joltek in 5th, Beaker in 6th, Copy in 7th, Mizzo 8th, Yonti 9th, Fossetti is 10th. Best of the rest goes to Gooby in 11th, Buemel's in 12th, Inaudible Gamer in 13th, 14th is TNMO. Hazard crashed out, he's gone 15th. Just Chilling is 16th, Rexon 17th, and Toto, who also crashed out, is down there in 18th place. Here is Buemel's coming across the line after he's unfortunately ran out of fuel. So now we're just waiting for Mizzo. There we go. And wow, what a qualifying session that was.
Very interesting. Wasn't expecting that. As I said, Hazard was top 3. wasn't really top 3, but if he has an absolutely amazing drive and brings the cat out of the bag and can make it to the front of the grid, I'm going to keep him right there.
Alright, well, Nickton I think is going to be taking the lead and holding on to it from beginning to end. I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue for him unless he gets caught up in some sort of traffic either at the very beginning of the race or during pit sessions. But Rayner, he's got a lot to do if he wants to try and get further up in the podium. I think he will sit P3. I think he will take a podium position, whether it be P3 or P2 or P1. That's the question. Ed Nickton's dominated this session so far. It was a wet session. I do think he did it on a dry setup as well, just showing how much instability he actually had. I have been informed it is going to be a dry race, so yeah, they're definitely giving it the full beans. And this is where drivers like Toto will actually be able to benefit from it, because they just seem to fall apart when the track was wet. When it was a bit slippy, they just could not get the power down. You saw them bin the car by accident, and I've actually been informed by our live stewards that Toto, Hazard and Just Chillin' did not retire intentionally, so no further action has been taken by the stewards, and so they will just continue with 0 penalties added to their times.
That's good. I did see Toto on track, but he must have hit the barriers and came out onto the track. So that results for no penalties for that driver, so that's good. That's a relief off their shoulders, and they're ready for the race.
Yeah, the drivers are just sorting out their race strategy, figuring out how many stops they want to do, how much fuel they want to carry on board, and what tyres they're going to go on first. Obviously, with it having a wet qualifying and moving into a dry race does mean that the drivers do have the choice of tyre to start the race on, and it will be a fresh one as well. So looking at the tyres, the top 10 have all gone for softs, and then just for select 5 outside of the top 10 have decided to go on the medium compound. Interestingly, both Racing Point Force India drivers have gone for the softs, and Rexon, the second Red Bull, has also gone for softs. So I'm not quite sure who's going to benefit most from it. I think those that have gone on the mediums at the beginning, so the drivers like Just Chillin' and Hazard, I think they have the pace. We know they can be quick. And they have the consistency. We know that too. So it's whether or not they can make the mediums last so that they can go on to the one-stop strategy and go to the softs to the end of the race. If they can do that, then they will benefit massively. And we may even see them take some very valuable points.
I think if we do see most of the drivers, we do see most of the drivers in the top 10 on the softs, and we will see pretty much most of them try and do a one-stop onto medium tyres.
Well, indeed. Hopefully they can pull it out. So we are on the formation lap. The drivers making sure their temperatures are optimal for when they come to the racing grid. And Nickton is doing his usual technique of just taking off and getting to resetting himself back to the grid as quick as he possibly can. Which is interesting because it's not necessarily the most optimal way to sort your tyres out. Not really that he struggles from that sort of situation, but you know, if you get to the grid faster, you have to wait longer, which means your brakes will start overheating because they've got no air flowing through them. Your tyres will not be warm. They'll be cooling down quite quickly. Your engine as well will start cooling down, but it depends how much you revved it throughout the hot lap. If you haven't got any air flowing through, you won't be able to cool that down neither. And I don't know if it's just my eyesight, but there was I think it was a Haas. That might have been Yonti. It looked like he had his wings stuck open. I don't know if it was just my eyesight. It's very likely. But, well, either way, you have to deal with it if that is the case. Here we are with all the cars lined up on the track. With the 5 lights go out, we will be seeing the drivers smash the pedal to the floor. And who is going to get the better start off? Well, we'll have to wait and see. Here he goes. It's very delayed, but they are away. So Nickton gets a really solid start. Who is that? That's Rayner. Rayner's making moves, trying to battle them off. Ed Nickton goes defensive down into the inside. That's Latero coming around to the outside too. And now Maester's going to be looking for a move down the inside too. Yoltek going around the outside. Maester's managed to jump into P3. So really good start by him. There's already a car off track. That's Latero. Latero's made a mistake. He's down into P9. He cannot recover himself in the situation. So he's going to have to fall all the way down to P10. He's recovered a little bit into P9. But it's still disaster for Red Bull. And look, where is that Nickton? He's dropped into P5 as well. Maester's right up there in P1 now with Rayner in P2, Yoltek P3, Beaker with the start of champions. He's up there in P4.
If I was not mistaken, there was a bit of contact between Ed Nickton and Latero, I think Alatzero tried to go around the outside, and then Nickton tried to squeeze him off the track, and there was a bit of contact there. Don't know whose fault it was, but they both obviously did not benefit from that situation.
Well, we will see if that goes to the stewards, and we'll more than likely hear from our live stewards at some point throughout this session as to whether or not that is going to be investigated or not. We'll keep tabs on that and go from there. A nice little camera shot here, as you can see the the Renault there of Wemmels coming up the back of Fossetti. Fossetti's doing a pretty solid job to hold on to Peter, and he's not really had anybody snatch any positions away from him. Oh, there was a little bit of a moment there for Lazaro. He's had a bit of an issue from beginning to end, and wow, they're doing such a good job of keeping it all together, except if you're Lazaro and at Nickton.
Yeah, that was a very interesting start. Meister obviously benefited most from that situation, making it into the lead, and Rayner up into second. An absolutely amazing start from Beaker, making it up into fourth position. As you said, start of champions. Beaker is definitely going to be a one to watch in this race, shown from the start that he's had.
Yeah, so biggest loser so far seems to be Yonti. He's lost 9 places, fallen all the way down into dead last. Totov's again A place. The biggest winner though is Meister. He claimed P3, so he jumped up 3 places, and now he's sitting up there on pole position. This is exactly where you need to be, as Meister is definitely someone who I will fully expect to be seeing in the Drivers' Championship standings, in the running for it at least. We'll have to keep an eye out and see how he does throughout the remainder of the actual calendar. But right here at Hungary, he's dominating and he's giving it everything he's got. Beaker had a little bit of a moment there where Nickton almost snatched a position from him, but the laps are a little bit out of sync with the intervals, but they should start sorting themselves out as they come across the line. There you go. So now what you're seeing as they filter through is now accurate. So the race leader, Meister, is 0.6 seconds, now 7, ahead of Rayner. Yoltek is following Rayner, again the same distance. Beaker 6/10 behind, and Nickton is closing in on Beaker. And it's going to be a matter of, now that DRS is back up again, we might actually see some moves on the home straight.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting battle between Nickton and Beaker. Beaker, a very good driver. Nickton, an absolutely amazing driver. It'll be a very close battle between them two. Can't wait to see it happen.
Oh, Yoltek gets a little bit out of shape there. His back end just went a bit too wide, and that's actually brought Beaker into the running now. When it comes to the DRS section, Yoltek will be under attack. Beaker will be attacking and defending from Nickton as well, which means that Beaker's actually got a good situation to be in. Yoltek's falling outside of the 1 second gap between him and Rayner. If Yoltek doesn't recover that, he will be in such a huge amount of trouble come the home straight.
It will be interesting to see what Yoltek can do. If he will be able to defend from Beaker, that would be an absolutely amazing situation for him. But then Beaker has a very hard time. He has to try and attack Yoltek whilst defending from Nickton, so he's in a lot of trouble.
Well, here we go. This is what we were waiting for. Now DRS has been enabled and is actually able to be activated. It's now going to be who is going to be flying past. Nickton's licking a move. He's looking for it, but there's no opportunity for him just yet. Looking for Mizzo. Mizzo is still attacking. He's actually closing in on Copy. There was a moment earlier where they nearly passed each other, but as soon as there's a mistake made, Lazaro, this man here in the Red Bull, he will be capitalizing on it, and you may see him jump up a few places to try and recover the disastrous start that he had.
It will be interesting to see if he has any wing damage. Doesn't look like he has any wing damage from what I can see. Seems like he's driving the corners completely fine. Obviously, Nickton doesn't have any wing damage because he's doing an absolute stunner drive to bring his car back. And that's Total, who has got a 3-second time penalty, if I'm not mistaken. Don't know what's happened there, but that's very unfortunate for his time.
Well, that'll be just a number of corner cutting. It's very easy to do on this track, especially with the very quick left-hander after Sector 1, just at the start of Sector 2. It's all down to making sure you get that right, a bit of consistency, and like I said, Toto's going to be wanting to try and show me, in particular, how good he can be on this track and get his first points ever here in Hungary. But as it stands right now, it's not looking too hopeful. But Rayner, he is on a mission right now. Let's jump back up to the front of the grid. As you can see, the gap closed massively there between Meister and Rayner. If Rayner can get a good run out of this corner, he may be in the running for catching up to Meister. Is he going to be able to make a move? I don't think he is. I think he's just a bit too far back. But it's going to be a case of now, just maintain the distance you have from the guy in front of you and make sure you don't make any mistakes going into Sector 2 and then into Sector 3. Oh, Maester made a mistake. This is Rayner's opportunity now. Look how quick he is onto Maester now. If Maester makes a slight gap, then will be Rayner sliding in the inside. Mister gets a 3-second time penalty again for corner cutting as well. So, if Maester continues the way he is, he will be losing the race lead.
That'll be very unfortunate from the start he's had. He's had a very good start, but we can see Nickton now right on the back of Beacon. Nearly some contact. Just not enough room for a move there. You saw him have a look and he goes a little bit wide onto the grass at Nickton. Now he's going to be attacking down the straight. Will he be able to make the overtake? No, he can't. Just a little bit far back.
So, Beaker looking like he's having a bit of an issue. I'm not sure if his back end's just kicking out a bit too much or if he's just getting a bit too trigger happy on the accelerator. But that back end is very lively. And as soon as we get to this DRS zone here, I think there's going to be a position lost for Beaker. He's just not able to keep the power down and not be able to drive as good as he needs to. Yeah, here we go. At Nickton, Beaker goes defensive on the inside, and Nickton switches to the outside. Beaker still holds the inside line, but I think if Nickton has got anything to do about it, we may see this position switch back. Although Beaker's done a really solid drive of holding this together, and he's defending that inside line beautifully. Beaker with the defensive drive of the century. Well done to you, sir.
Beaker with amazing class of defending there. Obviously, we know Nickton's very good at attacking in those DRS zones, but he's just not able to. And if you look behind him, Copy is not far back. His teammate Copy, as that's the inaudible gamer, getting a 3-second penalty. But you've got Copy not far back from Nickton, and but Beaker, absolutely amazing defending. Nickton trying all he can, but it's just not.
Yeah, I mean, Nickton he has been right on the back end of the Ferrari of Beaker. And if Nickton continues the way he is, if he can't make the pass happen, he will actually be destroying his tyres more than benefiting from the situation. And also, Copy is being closed in from Mizzo too, who's there in P7. We're going to see this battle for P3 is just never ending. It's all the way down to P8. So we're going to see a huge 5-way battle between these, 6-way battle, sorry, between these drivers. It's just purely who's going to benefit the most from it. There's a move there by Lazaro. One move down the inside. Mizzo tries to battle with him back, but Lazaro, that was a huge move from him. Very cleanly executed, and that is a nice grab onto P7.
Very good move from Lazaro. Very late dive, so the opponent was not expecting that one. Mizzo was not expecting that one coming. Element of surprise, the one that Lazaro is using, and it's obviously executed very well on that overtake.
Yep, there's Buemos and Gooby both getting 3-second time penalties for corner cutting. I get the impression they both went off at the exact same point of the track. Obviously the Jeffs will know this. Each team does have a race engineer associated to them. Although I think McLaren are actually missing theirs this week. So all the race engineers will be able to keep their drivers informed as to everyone's tyre performance, everyone's wing damage situations, but also how many penalties these drivers have, and they can manage their gaps accordingly. Alternatively, the drivers do have the ability to call upon their in-game Jeff and ask them for information about weather and other such things, so it's purely down to these drivers to fully utilise the resources available to them as well as the performance of the car. And there's so many things that they can actually grab hold of and make full use of. I want to see if Lazaro is able to do the same thing again, but this time on Copy. We'll have to keep an eye out. Oh, he managed to use that curve quite nicely to rotate the car as more than he necessarily needed to. And actually, that's going to bring Copy into a bit of trouble now. Next lap round, if the gap stays the same, we may actually see Copy fall apart.
Sorry.
No, go.
As we see in front, it's still Beaker in front of Nickton. Nickton not able to execute an overtake yet on Beaker. As we see another penalty being handed out. Stewards being on point with their penalties. Oh, that's a bit of a run-off by Nickton. That was a bit of a run-off the corner by Nickton. That did cost him a bit of time. And that also was a warning for Nickton for cutting the corner.
Yeah, Nickton I don't know if his just tires are just disappearing from him now, as he's been running in the dirty air of Beaker for quite a while. Beaker's obviously running in the dirty air of Yoltek, but now there's that one simple mistake that was made from Nicton. It does mean that Beaker will actually be able to work on that gap a bit. Toto getting another 3-second time penalty. His race is going from bad to worse right now. He needs to try and recover, needs to get his mentality in check and just focus on the task at hand. He can't let these penalties affect him. If he does, you may be in the same situation as what Copy's about to be in, which is where we're going to see a move down the inside from Lazaro. Is well defended there by Copy. Not enough for Lazaro to be able to capitalise on it. And Copy gets a better drive because Lazaro took such a tight corner. But look at the race lead. It's switched around. Meister has lost out. Rayner is in P1. And the drive now is with Meister to recover this position back. He's not a slow drive by any means. Rayner ran a little bit wide, but it was not the end of the world. And Rayner, he takes the race lead.
Yeah, very good move by Rayner. Mesa's now going to hang on for dear life onto Rayner's bumper, hoping he has a lasso to go onto the back of the car. But unfortunately, he doesn't. Mesa will have to try his best to hang on to the back of Rayner. Rayner, a very good driver, though. Will Mesa be able to hang on to the back? That's what we're all wondering.
Well, Rayner's just got himself a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting, so that'll be music to Mesa's ears right now, especially with given the fact he just lost the race lead to it. We are approaching the first stop window for the softs. I think we've got a couple of laps to go before that window does officially open. I think we'll expect lap 11, maybe lap 12 before we see him switch over. Toto getting another 3-second time penalty. That's 9 seconds if my calculations are right. He needs to pull himself together. He needs to figure it out. But look, further up ahead, here we go with Nicton, Beaker and Yoltek all battling right the way to the end. Nicton's looking for a cutback. Is he going to be able to get the drive? Beaker runs a little bit wide, back end kicked out. Beaker's gone defensive, trying to cover the inside line. Does mean that Nicton's going to try and run around the outside. Beaker's done such a good job. And again, the defensive god of Beaker means that Nicton stays in P5. Beaker holds onto P4, but he needs to make sure he doesn't lose the gap to Yoltek. All this defensive driving is giving Yoltek the opportunity to run away.
Yeah, Yoltek must be loving this situation as Nicton just runs a little bit wide. It looks like his tyres are scrubbing off a little bit, but Beaker, the more he defends, the more he loses out. Yoltek in front will be loving this, and he's just pushing as hard as he can to pull away from the two of them.
Yeah, so let's have a look at the race rundown in a minute. Rayner in P1. He has got a 3-second time penalty, and he's actually building that gap quite large on Meister. Meister's now 8/10 behind, almost outside of DRS range, but then he gets quite large after that. 2.2 seconds after Meister is where Yoltek is, and that's when you start to see this battle that we're currently on board with right now, which is with Yoltek, Beaker, and Nicton, sorry. All trying to slipstream each other, and DRS each other. Beaker again moving defensive. Now we've got a beautiful helicopter cam of these three drivers. Beaker made a slight mistake. I think he got baited out a little bit by Yoltek's mistake, and that actually promotes Nicton right close to the back end of Beaker. If this stays the way it is, I think we're going to be seeing Nicton jump not one but two cars on the next DRS straight.
Yeah, this could be a very interesting move from Nicton if he is able to pull off. If Beaker just gets a little bit closer to Yoltek in the next DRS zone, this could be Nicton's dream situation. 2 in 1 is better than 1 by 1.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you got the 2 DRS zones, it does mean you could take one on one DRS zone and then one on the other. But Beaker's got a lot to do. Yoltek is doing well to hold him back, but Yoltek, I'm seeing a lot of mistakes from him too, and it's going to be literally a matter of time. Someone else to keep an eye on is Lazaro, who is coming up to the back end of Copy. He's been sat behind him for a while, but we've also seen him do some really good moves on, like we saw him do on Mizzo earlier. So I'm fully expecting another dive attempt from Lazaro, probably on the next home straight. But whilst we're waiting for that to happen, let's just jump up further ahead. Let's see if Yoltek manages to defend well enough. Well, he is. And Nicton is a bit too far back for this move. Beaker's just trying to use a slipstream to protect himself, because if he doesn't, he's going to be in huge trouble there. Massive lockup from Nicton, almost puts him into the back of Beaker. But no, staying the same as it is again. Are we going to see Lazaro do anything different? Is he going to flick to the inside? He is looking for it. It's going to be a tight one. Copy's trying to cover the inside. He does do it well enough, but he actually lost a bit of power there. And now you can see him falling further and further behind from his teammate of Nicton. and Nick 10 will not want to give him the toe, even though he is his teammate, just purely because if he does, they're actually going to be losing out way more than this one position that Copy could lose here. Copy has got the skill. He needs to just keep it together.
Yeah, Copy, a very good driver, but up front, in front of him is his teammate in Nickton. Nickton is not going to be wanting Copy to get past him, as he is now right on the back of Beaker. Next DRS zone, Beaker could be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. So Reina still holds race lead. There's tons of battling going on right now. You got battle for P3, which is a three-way battle, sorry. Then you got battle for P6, which is between Copy and Lazaro. Lazaro is looking for any opportunity he could possibly get. Is that an early pit stop? It is. Nickton comes into the pits. He's the first person to blink. P4 is where he sits right now. And I assume he's going to go straight to the medium compound tyre, which is interesting. Because 22 laps on a medium tyre is going to be a rough stint to go on. Yeah, he is. Okay. Well, Beaker's also followed him in. Where is Beaker? He's sat in there. He's getting a new wing. Oh no, that is not how you wanted this race to go. He was holding a Nick 10 back. Beaker jumped into the pits. And yeah, look how far down he's fallen. Down into P17. Yonti might actually catch him as well here. We'll have to keep an eye out and see how the pit stops pan out. But Hazard, he's running alongside Inaudible Gamer. Inaudible Gamer went defensive, but Hazard made a beautiful overtake in one of the hardest sectors of the track to actually make that overtake stick. But he has done it. He's up in a P8. And as we've only seen 2 drivers pit, that's already looking like a minimum of P10. Which is actually really incredible stuff given the fact that he started so far back.
Yeah, and Hazard having being captain consistency. Let's hope today's consistency is overtakes and also his lap times. He is a very good driver. He can get consistent lap times. As you can see, his consistent corners just pulling away from the 2 Force Indias. He is pulling away. Is that going to be a pit stop? Yes, it is. As we see, that is now a bigger gap for Hazard.
Yep, that does promote him further up the field. We're seeing more drivers in the pits. So Yoltek, Copy, and Inaudible Gamer. Now, did Nickton hold his position? Lazaro was who he was battling. Well, no, it wasn't Lazaro. He was battling with Beaker, which we know has already pit and gone back. But he was also battling with Yoltek. Yoltek's come in the pits and come out again. They are side by side. Sorry, Nickton and Rexon are side by side. Yoltek is still ahead and actually had a much better run. Rexon is on these scrubbed up softs, so he's going to be struggling for power and performance. And Nickton's already done a lap on these mediums, which means he is faster. He's just trying to find an opportunity. He's giving it everything he can, but I don't think Rexon's going to be giving him any leeway right now. And this is a difficult choice to make if you're the Red Bull driver, because realistically, yes, you are fighting for position on the track, but you're also not fighting for position on the track because Rexon is still yet to pit, whereas Nickton has done that, and the longer he holds him back, the harder he's making it for everyone else. Although Lazaro is going to be hoping that Rexon can hold him back longer as possible, because that's basically his competition. Right, let's take a look around. Rayner's come into the pit, so your race leader has decided it's time to switch these tyres. He goes onto the mediums, but where does he fall down to? Does he fall down behind Yoltek? Because he had a really solid... Here comes that Nick turn down the inside off for the final corner. There's a little bit of wheel-to-wheel action here. They're still badgy, but still at Nick turn takes the lead from... takes the position away from Rexon. Rexon's looking for an inside move. Is he going to get a little bit desperate? He is. There was a nudge there, but Nick 10 wasn't affected by it. He's still going. And Rexon, that was a very ambitious move.
A very good overtake by Nickton. Is there a little bit of damage on Rexon's front wing? That will be interesting if there is. That could affect his race, but Nickton is now pulling away after that ambitious attempt of an overtake from Rexon.
So now, looking further down the field, you have Toto, Mizzo and Copy all battling together. Even Forssetti's getting involved in this one, because actually down behind Inaudible Gaming is right on the back end of him. We're going to have to keep an eye on that too, but Mizzo is the one I want to see as they're going side by side, coming into the corner. Toto backs out, which means Mizzo has jumped up a place. But this also means Fawcett is going to be trying to capitalize on the situation too, and he is. He did have to run off the track, but he did take P14 away from Toto. Toto run really wide there. He's 14 laps in on these mediums. It doesn't mean it's going to be falling apart. It just means that he's not quite running as nicely as he'd liked. Beaker with... Carry on. Carry on.
There was a little bit of contact there, but Beaker has now received a 3-second penalty, and that will affect his position on track. As he locks the fronts, that will affect the tyres. If he keeps doing that, he might get a flat spot, and that might affect his race later on.
So Beaker obviously had to go into the pits and have that wing replaced. He should be able to pull it back when we start seeing the rest of these drivers pit, but he lost so much time as a result of that. I mean, looking at how it pans out in a minute, let's go from the leader in terms of the gap. Beaker is outside of the pit window, so if Buemo's pits now, he'll actually still be ahead of Beaker. That's just how much that wing replacement cost him. So it's been quite a disastrous run for him, but Meister and Rayner, Meister actually managed to keep the race leader away and actually takes it from him. He's got net lead, technically. Although Rayner's looking for an inside move, Meister's defending beautifully, gets on the curbs just enough, and off he goes. Still holding on to what is now P4, but net P1. If Rayner finds an opportunity, which he is hunting for, he can smell the fear in Meister's eyes. As soon as Rayner gets his DRS, it's going to be a slipstream ERS and DRS move done. And with his second DRS line to go as well, I think we might be seeing this little change.
Yeah, this can be an interesting move. He dives to the outside. Will he be able to pull it off, though? We've seen it done before when he gets run out wide by Meister. Will he be able to do it in the second DRS zone, though? As Meister goes wide, he has no attempt, and that's a lock-up from Rayner. Rayner locks up the front, and that does affect him on his attempt to overtake, and that does slow him down.
So yeah, Meister holds on to net race lead at the minute. P4 still sitting tight, but it's not over yet. This battle will be continuing, I reckon, until someone finally gives in. Whether it be Rayner's tyres or whether it be Meister's tyres, someone's tyres are likely to give in when they get pushed off to the side. But this battling is so good to watch between these two. They are some of the greatest drivers to exist in F1 2018, and we get the pleasure to watch them on this track here in this racing league. Let's see what they can deliver throughout the remainder of this session.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see what these drivers can do in the remainder of the session. I think we will see a couple of drivers change positions. A couple of things happen that we won't expect happen, as that is a lock-up from, I think that is Lazaro. And who is that in front? That is Nickton, also locked up his front. Will Lazaro be able to get the DRS, ERS and slipstream move done like he wants to?
Well, here he comes. Lazaro's now fully in the dirty air, doing everything he can to try and capitalise on anything. If he can get a cutback on Nickton, he may be able to benefit from this, but no, Nickton is still going strong, and no matter how much Rexon tried to hold Nickton back, Lazaro could not build up a gap big enough to get him in front of Nickton when he did pit. So, with just chilling up there in P7, with those 17-lap old mediums, to be holding back at Nickton and Lazaro, this is only going to spell disaster for both of these two drivers. His race position, as we've lost Rexon. Rexon has DNF. That is in his left session very quickly. I'm not sure exactly where that was on the track, but that is not going to be good. Here comes at Nickton, looking for an opportunity on just chilling. Is he going to be able to pull off a gap big enough? I don't think he is. Just trying to get a little bit on the curb. Here he comes, going down the inside line now. It's going to be a very simple move done. And Nickton is not letting just trying to get a position back. And actually, he's going to lose 2 places. Lazaro's coming in as well. Lazaro's managed to go around the outside. If Just Chillin has got anything left in those tyres, he's going to want to try and drive away. But no, he has had to let them go. And unfortunately, that does mean Just Chillin loses 2 places.
That is very unfortunate from Just Chillin. As you can see, the tyres are now going off on the slicks, and he has lost that grip and loses 2 places to Lazaro and Nickton, 2 very experienced drivers. Just Chillin, if he did have the grip in the tyres, we would have saw him try and fight for that position.
We would indeed. So let's keep an eye out on the drivers that are still going strong. Meister's now got 3-second time penalty as well. So the time penalties between him and Rayner have now been matched. So where you see them on the track is where they'll finish if it stays how it is right now. If that does happen, that is a bit of a hit for Rayner, as Meister's driven so well, but Rayner is faster. He just cannot find an opportunity to pass Meister no matter what he does. If he does have DRS, ERS and slipstream, he still can't make it happen because Meister's defensive drive is just next level.
Yeah, Meister is a very good driver and he is capable of getting that win on this track, but it will just be a waiting game and aim to see if he will be able to on the other drive.
Alright, here comes Rayner. So now order has been restored. Meister and Rayner back up into race lead and in P2. It's purely down now as to whether or not Rayner's going to be able to do anything about it. Yoltek and Nickton, they are two people battling for P3. It's the final podium position allowed, and Nickton's trying to go around the difficult side, and Yoltek holds the line perfectly. It means that Nickton cannot make it move no matter what happens. He's still giving it everything. He's running in the dirt. Yeah, there's a likelihood chance that he's going to run wide here, but no, he put quite a lot of pressure on the brakes, which does mean that he doesn't take the position, but also doesn't run wide and get himself a penalty. He's doing a very good job of keeping it clean. Let's have a look around the field. The Inaudible Game has just got another 3-second time penalty as a result of multiple warnings for corner cutting. So he's going to need to keep that in check, otherwise he will end up in a lot of trouble. These drivers still staying fully committed to the cause. Lazaro has caught up to the back of Ed Nickton as well. So this is a three-way battle for the final podium spot. We need to just keep an eye out on how well they can do going through the DRS zones. Yoltek's going to have to defend like an absolute champ.
As you can see, the
Oh, are you back? You keep lagging out.
Yeah.
Okay, go.
Right. It will be interesting to see some overtakes. Nickton is going to...
I think you've cut out again. As my co-commentator does appear to have some network issues. Hopefully I can get them resolved pretty swiftly. But we'll just have a look further back, as Hazard and Falsetti are currently battling for the final points position. That's Falsetti braking very early. Hazard going around the long way round. And Nickton gets 3-second time penalty. That is not going to help his cause. Falsetti runs wide. That gives Hazard the opportunity to pass him and take P10. So point position for Hazard, but still much lower down than he would like to be. Lazaro in P5 still chasing at Nickton, and Nickton still chasing Yoltek. No change there, but one change that is happening is Rayner is closing in on Meister now. That gap has been reduced, and I believe my co-commentator has returned.
Yes, I think I have.
Perfect, we are back. Welcome back.
Yeah, the connection isn't very good.
No, that's fine. We can work with it. Don't worry. So Rayner, he is chasing after Meister right now. The gap did reduce down to 2/10, and even with this DRS and ERS, I don't know if he's going to be able to close it in enough. Buenos makes the fastest lap time, but he has had a few penalties added to his name. So whilst he sits in P7, we'll have to see at the end of the race if he's able to do anything. Gooby and Mizzo, they're having a battle. Gooby's going around the long way around. Well played to that man there with the DRS in his hand as well. It should mean that that is a cemented position for him, as long as Mizzo can't magic up some sort of overtaking maneuver. No, so Gooby doing really good work there to pull himself up into P8.
Yeah, very good move from Gooby going around the hard side of the track. But Nickton is still having a go at Yoltek. He is going to be pushing as hard as he can now with only 13 laps left to go. Nickton is going to be pushing hard to get a podium position.
Will indeed. So Rayner still fighting with Meister, but no overtaking opportunities available to him. Nickton still battling with Yoltek and Lazaro. Neither of them been able to make any sort of position switch around. We did see earlier where both of these two drivers managed to pass just chilling when he was on the medium compound, but as you're seeing right now, it does seem as though these drivers will... Actually, now I think this is going to be it. I think this is where Nickton's going to finally make the move happen. Yotek's going super defensive. He's giving him no opportunity to take an inside line. Yotek goes and matches him on the outside. Yotek's taking a very tight inside line. He doesn't get any sort of warning, but Ednigton is currently wheel to wheel alongside Yotek. If Ednigton keeps this line together, he will take the race lead. The podium position away from him. Yotek's now switched over and gone to the inside of the game, but now with Ednigton taking the next line, Yotek runs wide. Ednigton takes P3 and Lazaro snatches up another position. He's in a P4. Lazaro, he's absolutely capitalizing on these drivers' mistakes. That's the second time I've seen him capitalize like that and a driver lose 2 positions as a result.
Yep, Lazaro is doing a very good job at cleaning up the dirt from Ednigton, and the next goal is going to be for him to go on the attack on Ednigton. It will be interesting to see the battle between these two.
Yeah, Lazaro and Ednigton, they seem to be sort of matched in their pace. This is the first time I've seen Lazaro be as quick as this. He is very quick in general anyway, but I've not seen him yet be able to match Ednigton's pace. And for the first time, seeing him here in Hungary, this is the best time you could do it, right here, right now. Whether or not he's going to be able to make the overtake happen, I get the impression that Lazaro has just been biding his time. He's on fresher tyres. He's obviously just been able to wait for the mistakes made by other people. But it has meant that Lazaro has been able to bring himself close up to the back of Ednigton. And we have heard from our live stewards there has been an incident of an illegal overtake by Hazard on Inaudible Gamer on lap 13 in Sector 2. Hazard went fully off the track when he made the overtake, and it will be investigated after the race. So we'll see if a penalty is instigated upon Hazard. Whether or not it will be is a different story, but we'll keep an eye out. He's sat in P10 at the minute, and Lazaro, that is major. That is crucial for his podium chances.
Yeah, Lazaro getting a penalty there, but Hazard's job now is to just get ahead, try and pull as big a gap as possible, get as far up the grid as possible, and if he does take the penalty, try and lose not as many places as possible.
Yeah, indeed. Here comes Hazard on Mizzo. This is now to double up his points and get 2 instead of 1. If Mizzo makes a mistake, Hazard will capitalise. We know Hazard is on the better tyres. He's already going for an inside move now. Is he going to be able to pull it off? He is. Beautiful work there by Hazard. Made that look very surgical. This guy could very much work in an operating theatre because of how clean that was. There will never be a mistake happen in that sort of line. And if he hasn't got a penalty, which he hasn't so far, I'm not sure if Gooby's got one, but he's... In fact, no, I know he has. And he's almost within that 3 seconds range. And now he's free from Mizzo. He may actually be able to close that up.
Yep, with 10 laps left to go, we will start seeing more action as there is a battle between Yotek and Buem. Is going to be crucial contact though? There is a little bit of contact between Yotek and Buemos. Yotek may have lost a bit of his front end there, but Buemos did not lose any time or positions to that contact.
Yeah, but Yotek just got a 3-second time penalty. He just seemed to have lost his composure, and that's why he ran off. Gets the 3-second time penalty as a result of it, and now he's fallen further down. Lazaro also getting a 3-second, and that's Forsetti off track. Where is that? That is a major off there. You can see him as Tinamo's going to come around now. You'll be able to see Forsetti on the middle of the track there, on the right side. I'm not sure what happened. I think he's just retired. I think he spanned the car and then retired in frustration. Whether or not that is the case or not, I'm not quite sure, but we'll keep an eye out for that. I'm sure the stewards will be in touch if that is the case. Although his car wasn't moving, so maybe I'm completely wrong. Lazaro's left the session through a disconnect or of some... Oh no, he's left the session because he DNF'd. Where did he DNF though? I've actually just realised that is actually huge. Where is that DNF? I didn't realise it even crashed out. I was so focused on what happened with him and Forsetti. It's right here where you can see a TNMO. But I didn't see any car other than just a little bit of debris. So that is major. Lazaro's best run so far in the Season 2 of Rwagnation League has now been crushed to smithereens all the way down into P16. And I have been informed that you were right. Yotek has got damage on the right hand side of his front wing. It's got just about 12%, which is going to be hindering him more than enough on a track that requires a high level of downforce. Now, with Gooby getting that extra 3-second time penalty, it does mean that Hazard will be able to get himself close up to... he will gain a place or two. He's already P8. I think he's going to be closing in on Copy pretty soon. That gap is just being torn apart. It's now, you know, the next closest battle is up at the front runners. Reina in race lead, Meister in P2 with half a second between the two of them. Who will come out on top? Well, we're going to have to wait and see.
It will be interesting to see who comes out on top, and that is very unfortunate for Lazaro. Maybe would have been one of his best finishes, has came to a bitter end, but that will affect his championship standings in the Rwagnation League. And there is going to be a good battle right now between Reina and Meister. It will be interesting who comes out on top, though.
Well, Meister just made a mistake. He actually ran wide a bit. His car slid a bit more than he wanted. And it does mean that Meister can bring that gap down even closer. It's now just at almost 4/10 and dropping. But Reina runs a little bit wide. He didn't get... I think he may have got a warning for that, but he obviously didn't get a penalty. But if Reina keeps driving like that, he may end up in trouble. Hazard, Captain Consistency, is inconsistent and gets a 3-second time penalty for pushing as hard as he can to bring that gap down. He is now within DRS range of Copy, but at what level of issue? Well, we're going to have to keep an eye out and see what happens.
That was very unfortunate. That is a 3-second penalty, and that might be a bigger penalty depending on if he does get a penalty from the stewards after the race. He just needs to push as hard as he can now and not get another penalty from track limits or warnings or any such. He just needs to try and overtake Copy and as many drivers as possible and just pull away.
Yeah, well, he's about to have an opportunity to do that. As you can see, Meister's trying to have an opportunity as well. I want to quickly get ready to prepare looking at Hazard. I think he's now on the home straight. Here he is, yeah, so Copy under threat from the Mercedes of Hazard. Hazard goes for the inside. Copy looked like he just surrendered that position, says, look, you go through. I'm not really fussed about fighting you. You are quicker than me, I know it. And Hazard goes up in a P7. With Gooby's 6-second penalties, it means he's going to realistically looking at a P6. Yoltek also has penalties, but I think they've been matched out by Hazard's 3 seconds. And he will not be happy with that.
Yeah, that will be a big effect on the championship standings and this race standings. So it will be interesting to see who can win this race. As Nickton is starting to catch the two leaders, and it will be interesting to see what he can do when he comes to spoil the party.
Yeah, Nickton's had such a good recovery drive, given how much of a disastrous start he had. He obviously lost the race lead straight away, and then after that, there was a bit of contact between him and Lazaro, which is what sent him spinning and falling further down the pack. He fell down to, I think, all the way down to P6, and had to try and recover what he could. And to say that how quick these drivers are at the front of the pack, the fact that he's not lost out and is actually able to battle with him, he's now within DRS range of Meister. It does mean he is back in the running for the race lead and may even dominate the constructors again. Have got the constructors lead at the minute, with Williams looking to make that a different situation. You've got one Haas driver at the front of the grid, one Haas driver outside of the points, whereas both Williams are up there. And actually, speaking of the Haas driver, one of them just got a 3-second time penalty. That'd be Yonti.
That's very unfortunate for Yonti. He was on an absolute storm of drive. He is a bit further down than we were expecting him to be, but he will not be wanting that 3-second penalty. As we see, Nickton is now right on the back of Meister and Reina, and it will be a battle of the DRS and ERS down this straight to see who can get it on the earliest and see who can get the best run.
Yeah, exactly. Meister's still looking for an opportunity to close in on Reina. Reina's now in trouble. Meister and Nickton are right there. And we saw earlier, we've seen a few. This track does give you the opportunity to take 2 places in one. And we may actually see Reina lose 2 places if it stays the way it is. But now Meister's opportunity. He's closer than he has been for a while. With the slipstream being so strong here on this track, you're already looking for an opportunity and not quite sure he's going to get it. I think Reina's running lower wings, which does explain why he's run wide. It does mean that Meister now is going to have an opportunity to close in. Reina needs to defend the inside if he wants to stop Meister from doing this move, but he's not going to be able to. Meister's looking for any gap he can get. Reina moves over to the inside for the next corner. He holds on to the race lead, but Meister got a little taste of what the race lead could taste like if he took it right now. With 5 laps to go, race lead is huge. Let's see if Nickton can also take the position. There was a massive close up there. Nickton almost had a heart attack as Meister just suddenly became from a small dot to a big car in a very short space of time. If Nickton is able to keep this pace available, if Meister and Rayner have another close moment like that, we may see an off from one of them, maybe even both, and Nickton will jump from P3 up to P1. And I don't think, I may be wrong, but I don't think Nickton has any penalties of any kind. So that would be an interesting situation to be in, as we see Tortor's gone for the ultra soft tyres, so he's going for the fastest lap of the session. There is no points awarded for fastest laps in this game. This is purely for pride.
It would be a championship changer if there was prizes awarded for, points, awarded for fastest lap, and it could change the championship in different ways. It depends on the community wanted that or not. But this battle at the front, it will keep going on, and I can't wait to see the last couple of laps.
Exactly, we've got 4 laps remaining of this session, or 5 if you include the one that they're on right now, and there's just so much battling going on here in Hungary. It's such fun to see how well these guys are driving and how close they're putting each other on the limit and still keeping it together, still keeping themselves in check and not getting collision penalties or any sort of issues at all. This is the top level of caliber of driving we want to see, and this is where you're only going to get it if you're watching the Rwagnation League. Keep an eye on these 3 drivers. They will go very far in their esports career, and to know that they are here dominating this track and the rest of the grid demonstrates just how good they can be.
Yeah, just shows how good these drivers are, as we see Bika get another 3-second penalty, and Meister in front did let the back end swing out a little bit there, and we will see the DRS be enabled for both the drivers behind Rayner, and it will be interesting to see what will happen in these last couple of laps.
Yeah, Rayner's done a bit better line this time, which does mean that Meister isn't able to capitalise on it. Again, he's going to have to sit back and just enjoy the ride, although Rayner's made a mistake. This is going to give Meister an opportunity, but no, Rayner recovered just enough. And Tortor getting another 3-second time penalty for his troubles. He's just pushing for a hot lap and it's not working out for him. Buemos is slow. He's just in the distance a little bit. You keep seeing him at the back of the shot. So he may be able to close up a bit. He is giving it the full beans. He's on the softer tyre, younger tyre as well. So he does have the opportunity, but this is around about the age of tyre where we saw the softs go in for the pit and switch over to the mediums. They will last much longer, but optimal grip is just not going to be there on the softs, and I expect Buemo's tyres to really start overheating now.
It will be interesting to see these front couple of drivers on these old medium tyres. Will they be able to make it to the end? I'm supposing they will try, because there is not long left of the race. As we see Tortor set the fastest lap of the race. That just shows how quick he can be. It's just unfortunate that he has so many penalties, as all the drivers behind Rayner have DRS in the top 3.
And it must be so nerve-wracking to be in Rayner's cockpit right now. He knows he's got the race lead. He knows the 2 drivers behind him are quick. Is he able to hold them back? Well, that's down to him and his driving capabilities. As Hazard and Yoltek have gone side by side. Hazard went for a deep dive down the inside. There's a bit of contact between the 2 of them, but Hazard has the inside going into the next corner, which does mean he will... Oh, it's a bit of a contact again. Yoltek gets punted wide a little bit. Yoltek recovered just about enough. Hazard does take the position away from him, but whether or not that's going to be appealed or not, I don't know. It was a racing situation. It was wheel to wheel. There was no major off, but Hazard has taken P6, a very well deserved, but this is not over yet. It's still going up at the front row of the grid. Nickton gets a 3-second time penalty, and that will mean he isn't going to be able to pass Meister, as he actually now has more penalties than both of the front runners. He needs to pray that Meister and Rayner make a mistake. Any one of them make a penalty now, and it will be a switch of race leader all of a sudden.
It will be an absolute game changer if Nickton cannot gain any time by the front 2 making mistakes and getting penalties, or making massive mistakes and coming off. It could be a very unfortunate finish to Nickton's race after an absolute dominant performance and a very good drive.
It would be indeed. I mean, Buemels is behind. He's within the 3 seconds, but I also think Buemels has got quite a fair few penalties too. I think he may be matched with Nickturn in terms of penalty. If Nickturn isn't able to, if his prayers aren't answered, if Meister and Reina don't get another penalty, Nickturn will be at best P3 as a result, even if he does make the pass happen on track. But what could happen is, whilst he's battling with these drivers, he may force one of them to make a mistake and actually generate that penalty themselves. Meister ran a little bit wide there, kicks up a little bit of dirt, but not enough for it to be a problem for him. He needs to find a way though now to take Reina on the... Oh, that's it, Nickturn running wide. He's really starting to fall apart. 21 laps in on these medium tyres. You can see the grip is disappearing from them. Are we going to see a puncture? Well, 22 laps is on Mizzo's tyres, so I think not.
It will be interesting, and it will be interesting for the viewers at home to see. And there's a bit of contact there. There is contact between Nickturn and Meister. Nickturn just going a little bit deep into the corner and catching his front wing and front wheel onto the back of Meister. I don't think there was any damage collected, but there was some contact there.
There was indeed. Further back, Joltek and Hazard are going again. Joltek got P6 back from him. Now Hazard's going to have to take the difficult way around. But again, they're side by side. Joltek pushes Hazard off the track this time. Hazard is still giving it the full beans. If he can get around the outside and stay alongside him, he may be able to take the inside for the next corner. I think he's going to be able to pull that off. He is. Hazard is up in a P6. Really well driven by him. And that is going to be a very solid P6 position for him. But we're still back up at the front. This is the final lap. This is where the points are given out. And who's going to take the race win? Only these boys know right now. And I'm pretty sure if you're in Reina's shoes, you are going to be absolutely nervous.
I think, as we can see, there's a little gap for Reina. And I think that will give him a bit of confidence coming onto this last lap. And I think he will have that extra heart in his body, and he think he will be pushing as hard as he can. Not too much that he gets another penalty, but you will see Reina trying as hard as he can to keep the lead.
Well, Reina's crossed the line. He takes the race victory. Meister takes P2 and Nickturn takes P3. Very nicely done with a 3-second penalty. He falls further down. Buemels also managed to, almost capitalized on that penalty. P4 is where he finishes. Hazard gains a very good P5. Oh, he's just dropped to P6 actually because of that 3-second penalty. That is very rare to see Hazard lose out on places as a result of penalties. Copy takes P5, Hazard P6, Joltek P7, Gooby P8, Mizzo P9, just chilling P10, and the best of the rest goes to Inaudible Gamer, who's in 11th, TNMO in 12th, Yonti 13th, Beaker 14th with DNF, interestingly. Toto gets 15th, and then the next 3 drivers all DNF'd as well. That is interesting. So, incident between Hazard and Joltek, where Hazard pushed off Joltek at lap 35, will be investigated after the race as well. I fully expect that to be a counter appeal, or at least nullified, as Joltek did exactly the same thing back to him. So in my opinion, it was the same situation, same part of the track. We will see from there. But obviously the stewards make those decisions. But what a race that was. Now, question of the day for you is, who is the driver of the day?
Oh gosh, spoiled for choice. I don't really know. I might have to go for Nickturn or Beaker. Both very good drives from both the drivers. Meister also a very good drive, so it is between those 3 for me then.
See, I think I'm going to have to give driver of the day to Meister. In fact, you know what? I think Reina started further back, if I remember correctly, and he did such a good drive to get himself up there onto the race lead. And Nickturn did a very good job of recovering from the little collision he had earlier on in the session. He did fall down a few places and bring himself back up onto P3. But yeah, look, Reina started in 3rd place, climbed up into P1 and held it once he got past Meister. He was so much faster, and what a drive by these 2 drivers. So that is it here from the Rwagnation League. Thank you everybody who tuned in. Thank you so much, Kai, for commentating alongside me again. You are a legend, and I really appreciate you taking the time out of your karting weekend in your van to come and commentate with me and coping with the network connection issues you've been having throughout. So thank you so much for it. Yeah, for everybody who wants to check out more racing from the Rwagnation League, check out the YouTube channel. If otherwise, stick around. See you next week for the next installment of the Rwagnation League. I can't remember exactly where we're racing, but Beaker will correct me and tell me later on. But for anybody who wants to get involved in some open lap races, stick around. Dude, that was nuts. Well done, man. Thank you so much.
Shattered.
I don't blame you. I suggest that you have a good sleep and prepare yourself for an incredible race tomorrow. Because, wow. You did such a good job today, dude. Honestly, it was so good watching you driving around the track. There was like moments where I was watching you drive, and I could see you getting frustrated at the fact that you just had no pace, like not the pace, sorry, no power in the car. And I was like, oh man. And Kate, my Kate, it was actually your mum's just texted me. Yep. Okay.
It's fine. That was quite a while ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine. I won't keep you too long because you do need to get some rest, dude. But again, it was honestly, it was an absolute pleasure to come see you today. And Kate was the whole way back. Kate was like, "That was such a fun day. I really enjoyed it. He's such a lovely kid and everything." I was just like, I knew you'd like it, considering the day, literally yesterday, she was like, "I'm not sure if I want to go. I don't think it's my thing." I said, "Kate, shut up. Come on, come with me. You will enjoy it. You'll have a great time. Yes, it'll be a little bit cold, but you just wrap up a little bit and we're fine." She came and she's so glad. She's already said she can't wait to come and do it again whenever you're next down at that track again. So
yeah, I would love that. Thank you so much for coming. It was so much fun with you there. I think it gave me a little bit more confidence with you watching me.
Yeah, well, like I said, dude, if there's any more races nearby, we'd love to come and watch you, dude. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, I'd love that to happen.
Alright, go get some rest. You've got a big day tomorrow, alright?
Yeah.
Alright, take care, man. Good luck for tomorrow. Let us know how you do, and we'll see you soon, alright?
Alright, see you. Thank you.
No worries. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. That kid is so cool, man. If I ever make it big in Twitch, I was saying this to my Kate on the way home as well, that if I ever make it big on Twitch, I'm absolutely sponsoring that dude. That kid is incredible. He's got so much talent, and the thing is, he doesn't even know it. That's what makes it so humbling. Like, he's just so good. That kid's mad. All right. We're gonna do some fire lap races to end the night on. So we have an hour and 40 minutes remaining. If you want to come get involved, feel free to come get involved. That was a race. You are not wrong, dude. That race was nuts. Good drive there, dude. Really well done. Let me just take my jumper off because I am absolutely sweating. Oh no. I'm so warm. On the verge of crying. Why, dude? I've never felt so bad after a race. Why? What happened? There was literally one track left on the calendar that hasn't been voted out, which I like. Game crashes out. Oh, you mean this track? Oh, dude. TNMO, man. That's a big old rip, but don't be disheartened, man. Don't be disheartened. Yes, it might not be the greatest track. Sorry, maybe you didn't get to do your greatest track ever, but there's still so many other tracks you can do out there. Don't get disheartened. Don't get disheartened. Stay focused, all right, dude. Just think about next week. Think about what's coming up. You'll nail it. I could have had solid points finish finally. I know, man. I know. You got plagued with no end of issues. It's not your fault. So don't take it personally, all right? Don't take it as though you fucked up. You didn't. It was the game that let you down. I also want to do some 25% races. So what we'll do is, because I've already done a couple of 5 lap races, I actually want to do Belgium as one of the The hell? I actually want to do... We'll do Austria first. Then we'll do Monaco. And then we'll go on to 25%ers. Crow! I'm not joining, don't worry. Hey Crow, how you doing, dude? I just sweated my ass off. Do not tell me anything. I don't want any spoilers. I just want to know if you had fun. After that, I'm gonna watch it after stream later. But honestly, dude, no spoilers. Shut up, guys. No spoilers. Yes, you had fun. But lag will always be with me. Oh, rip, dude. Rippers. Alright, boys, let's go. If you want to come get involved in some races, I'm going to drop you all an invite. Everyone who's on F1 is getting an invite. If you want to come race, come race. If you don't, don't. Right, how many references to season 1 did you make? 1. Just the 1. I mentioned it right at the beginning, and that was it. There was no more references to it. I think I actually mentioned it in qualifying, and that was it. Can I spoil that Crow is in the points? Well, I already saw that, and I fully expected him to be in the points, so that isn't a surprise for me. He's a great driver. He deserves to be way higher than he is. I was so silent as a Jeff of Meister, I didn't say anything for like an hour. Oh really? Why? Because he was just worried he was going to affect his drive? I mean, he drove like an absolute machine. I thought at one point he was going to take the race lead back again. The bit where Rayner made a mistake, it looked like Meister was a bit nervous of like taking him out because he was like, I've got such a good position, I don't want to lose this, I don't want to lose this. And he was like right on the inside. I thought he's going to do it, he's going to do it. And then Rayner just snipped back on the outside again. It was so good. Oh, I got fastest lap of the race, which I was pretty happy about. Yeah, you were also the only one who went on Ultra, so that was no surprise. If you hadn't have got it, we'd have been mocking you. It's impossible to pull away, and I was just being a wall with 211 wings, lol. Do you think maybe you could have turned the rear wing down a bit? And maybe knocked your ballast down too, or something? I don't know. Rainer, you had a great drive. I am the Jeff of Meister. You did a very good drive, dude. Holy crap. I'm going to knock that down a touch. Bring that down as well, and then we should be good. It felt decent. Fair play. I've seen a great fight between Yoltek and Hazard. Yeah, they had a really solid fight. They were doing really well. I think, to be honest, I think the appeals between the two of them, I think they should just be nullified, in my opinion. They both did the exact same thing to each other, so they're now even. I think it'd be silly to actually penalise them for... I'm pretty sure they would be both fine with it. But who knows? Wow, default, what a lap, dude. What the fuck, this Halo? Hey, Nace, how you doing, dude? What do you mean, because there's no Halo but a column in the middle? Yeah, I removed it. I turned it off because it was annoying. Rip, I screwed in the last lap. Ah, rip, dude. Guys, thank you everyone who tuned in for that entire commentating race. It's really good to have you guys enjoying it. I can see in the chat you're like, oh, this is cool. So it's so good. Thank you so much. But anybody who hasn't already followed, if you like what you see, please hit the follow button. But more importantly, if you really want to get involved in a Formula One community that is really friendly, really opening, and really helpful, then type in !Discord in the chat. That'll give you a link directly to the Rwagnation Discord. Come and get involved. You know, everyone's welcome. We don't stop anyone from getting involved. As long as you're a nice guy and don't start just spreading toxicity around, then you're completely welcome, and everybody will welcome you straight on board, and everybody will look after you. .104.5 is not a great lap. I had a 104.1 in my league. Got pole though. Nice, dude. I'm not that good at this track. I know that you can reach 103s, but I'm just not that great. Rainbow, what's up, dude? I finally got a car. Nice, dude. Oh, my back is itchy. Let's get ready to rumble. Let's get ready to rumble. Watch for the McLaren of me locking up into turn 1. Don't hit me, please. Please don't hit me. I beg. Because I think I can actually battle with these boys up ahead. It's one of my bests, but I am inconsistent.
Watch out, we're green.
Oh, that's a corner cut. Oh, default, you're a nice guy. Thanks for the stream, dude. Oh, run wide. Sorry, we're good. Oh my lord, that was terrible. My brakes are really good. I don't know why they were so good. Alright, enjoy watching the race back, dude. It was such a good race.
Let's use some of this energy. Increase the ERS deployment.